All right, recording's in progress. All right, so what we're going to do today is we're just going to create a model around COVID data. So nothing specific I really have in mind with this, but just to kind of, and you'll see there's so much data that I was actually, when I grabbed the data from Kaggle as well, there was so much data that I mean, I could do a lot of stuff with. I think it was like 2 weeks old, so it has a lot of good information in it. But the assignment this week is to create this dashboard. Everyone's going to create a dashboard on COVID data. So everyone, there's no specific requirement around how you present it, because everyone's going to do it differently, and that's fine. That's what's nice about it. But what we'll do extra instead of the dashboard is we'll do a storytelling. So we'll provide a storytelling of the dashboard and so forth. But we'll talk about that when we get to that point. So first thing I'm going to do in this session right here is I'm going to click text file. I included the beach ball is going to give me a headache for some reason. It's sitting there. Okay. No. Okay, where is my file at? Okay, it is missing. For some reason, my computer is having a stroke right now because it can't. It's just sitting there. Make sure it's not hiding somewhere. Yeah, I'm trying to see why. Oh. Yeah, I'm using a lot of memory. I'm gonna pause this for a second. All right, so after my malfunction on my computer, oh, come on. I am going to click on text file, and I'm going to choose the data that's included in the session. And after about 3 weeks, we're finally in business. All right, so talking about this data right here that we have in place, we have lots of different rows of data. So there's lots of, it talks about anywhere from ISO codes to location, which would be geographically our information that we're looking for. It talks about total cases, new cases, which we could identify as going to be our current cases, active cases. It talks about death rates, talks about per million cases, ICU patients, weekly patients, etc. So there's lots of data here. I'm not going to update that. All right, so that's good. So the first thing that we're going to do with is we're going to start a new sheet right here. There's so much stuff that we can do with this. Not exactly sure what I want to do with it. But, and like I said, everyone's going to have a different information. So just looking at the data that we have here. Looking for a location. So I'll start off with continent. At least I know that's going to break it down. So I'll pull this over my rows. And so now one thing is I identified, and this is like something I pinpointed earlier. I don't remember who it was showing their screen, and they had like null data for the NBA stuff up here. So one of the things that I'm going to do first is right click on this, maybe. And I don't know if I can filter yet. I might have to filter once I have some data in here. But what I want to do is filter this data out eventually. The other thing is picking up maybe total cases that we have out here. So, well, you know what? Maybe we could do something different. There's a lot of stuff here. Let's do all new cases. So we would consider this like our active cases that we have out in place right now. Should let us. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to click on filter. That's not going to let me do it. There's a way that we could grab that data out of there. Continent, I'm going to do filter. So this is what I'm doing here is I notice right off the bat I have null here, and we don't want to represent that in our report. And that looks like it's coming from continent. So I think what I want to do here is click on continent, and I want to click on filter, and I want to uncheck null data. Now, in this instance right here, if you're getting this data, you probably want to, before you get to this point, before you're doing your viewing, for what we're doing, it's fine. But if you're actually presenting this to some business to make money or whatever the case is, you probably want to go find that data before you get to this point and figure out what values are null, because maybe those null values belong to a certain continent, and it was a problem or by mistake or whatever. So you want to make sure that you didn't lose any data. So I'll click OK. And now that information's completely gone. So in this case, we're talking about new cases, which would be maybe the active cases that are happening right now. So we have continent. We could also break it down a little bit more and maybe do it by location. So let's pull location over here. Now, if I let me remove continent for a second. If we just do location itself without continent in there, take that out real quick. You see that we have all this information here. It's kind of like the NBA thing. There's just so much data here. If we do it per location, because then it gets, to me, it gets a little too hairy, because you have all that information. If we go back to continent, as you see here, I'm just filtering that in there. It provides a little bit more meatier information. As you see here, it breaks it down by location. Maybe continent is first, but you get my gist. It's, you want to have that. And see, I already see some problems with some of the data that I was seeing. I probably want to do it that way, continent first, and then down by location. But I thought I seen some null data in there.
Could you put the location in that little filter box and then pick what you wanted, or would that take too long?
So you mean like over here? Yeah. So you're right. So you can put it over there, and you can select what you want. As you see here, there's a lot of values. So it's 238 values. But if you know, for example, like we already see Africa and Asia, we want to do, if you know pinpoint, like you're doing like a handful, I think it'll be a lot easier. But if you're doing like 100 of them, then it could be a little difficult. What they don't have in place, and I'm happy you brought that up, is what this would be a con of this, where like Power BI, you can import a text file. So let's say you have a text file and you have 100 records in there that you want to exclude. You can import it and it'll pick it up and treat it as that filter, where here you can't, that I'm aware of. So we picked 3 of them. You see that we're getting null data for some reason. We only have United States based off of continent. I know that we had these guys, but they're under location. So let's go back. So, but yeah, you can do what you said. You could even maybe do it by continent and maybe break it down. So, Africa, North America, and South America. And then maybe by location, if you want to break it down even further, then maybe you could break it down on a location, because I think that's why we're getting error messages before. Then we could say, okay, looking at this, I could say, okay, Argentina, and I see that Brazil has some value. And then I could say, I think I see Colombia there. And let's see what the United States has. That's the US, I'm not sure what's there. So it didn't really provide me anything that I was looking for. Well, the thing is, all this information's up here. So what I would have to do is put this here and grab this here. So I have to have it in the filter, and then I have to have it in the rows, so that way we have some values. We have South America, it breaks down Argentina, Brazil, Colombia, United States. And this is all the current cases, which is ridiculous. Who knew that? I never thought I'd say I want to live in Colombia right now, but you have some information there. So we could actually call this first report, we could just call it, well, we're not completely done yet, just playing around with it right now. I think to make it nice and pretty, I think in this case, we want to maybe grab location and throw it in a color, at least for now, so that we have a colorful view to it. And then at least it shows over to the right. And then we could say that in this report, we're just doing some filtered cities that we're doing research on from North America and South America. So I'll just put this and say COVID-19 or South America. New cases, I should have put. Hopefully I answer your question. We could provide some more value here. As you see, you could just start getting crazy with this. If I go to, let me find it here. So what I did is I took some new cases and put it in a label. So now at the end of our report, we have the amount of current new cases, current cases, whatever that's happening. And then we have our little filter down there at the bottom. So that provides some type of report that we're doing. And that's just a bar report, bar graph, I mean. Any questions on that? All right, so I'm gonna create another sheet here. And this one, just doing a variety of different things. I'm not doing anything specific. I'm sure some of this data is going to be ridiculous and we're going to have a lot of value to it. Maybe we focus on people older than 70. Maybe we do, let's see here. Maybe vaccinate people. It's over here. People fully vaccinated versus not vaccinated. So let's say people vaccinated and maybe people fully vaccinated. So I would assume that one is for lower amount. Maybe also, I don't know what considered medium age is. So I'm gonna throw that in there as well. Break it off by age. People fully vaccinated, okay, medium age. Then we want to probably, well, probably want to have it by location, but the problem with the location one is it's going to provide a lot of data. But let's just see what we get here. So if I throw this up into the column area, see what I mean? It really breaks it down. So I probably want to do continent, so it's like more regional based. And then maybe if I grab location. You know, I'm also going to change port here. I'm going to do a line graph. But wow, it's a lot. Let's see, maybe if I do. Ooh. Let's see, people maximum, go down here. Hmm. Let's see something here. I don't know what medium age is. I'm gonna do a filter on that. Okay, so there's no actual age. Okay. I wonder about this. Same. Okay. Let's break down the. Well, let's do this. Let me grab continent real quick. Let's break it down to what we had before. I think we're doing North America and South America. We have that. It brings down the data a little bit. And then we'll do location. 13 nulls. Filter the data. So now that we have the nulls gone, we have some data there. All right, what else do we want to do? We want to consolidate this data in some mannerism. Let me. Do something here. We do people vaccinated. People fully vaccinated. So what is it at? Sorry, I don't. I don't have a. I don't have something put together. I'm just kind of winging this data that I just got. People vaccinated. What do we have up here? People vaccinated, or is that fully? That's this one right here. Come on. All right, so these numbers are off the chart. To be honest with you, let's see here. We need to have that continent location. Those are based off of location. So let's put this in color. Now, if you look over here in our location, or at least you could say our legend, we have a list of different areas. So we have South America, Brazil. Those numbers are crazy. But the good thing is these numbers are positive numbers because they're how many people have been vaccinated, which is just nuts. Wow, who is this? North America. It's just wow. That many people have been vaccinated. That's incredible. I think that's how many people voted for one of the presidents. So that kind of shows you an interesting stat there because that one right there is like how many people Well, actually, it might be more. That's actually more. But this could right here could just be our bar graph talking about people vaccinated, just doing something out there. So let me go down here and do name COVID-19 people vaccinated. South. Any questions at this point? And I think a lot of this is, I think once everyone gets involved, they'll come up with a different story. There's so much information here, so much data here, that you could tell any story. The only problem is that makes it difficult is if you're trying to consolidate all the locations around the world, you're going to have to do it from a high level, maybe by country versus, unfortunately, this data only has it by continent and not by country, unless you do by location. But then it gets really hairy because it provides so many different locations, where it just makes the data tough to read if there's so much of it. So you want to always try to filter it down some mannerism. Now what we'll do is we'll try to set up a pie chart. So maybe try to do some different data here. So this one we want to maybe talk about deaths or something like that. Maybe deaths, not to be goofy about it, but let's see, what can we talk about? So let's do, I see it in here somewhere in total deaths. I don't know if I want new deaths. I think I see it down here. Oh, here it is. There it is. All right. So I'm going to drag total deaths up into rows. Actually, you know what? Let's do it. I know what, let's do this. Click on it. What if I could just do this? Double click on it, and then we want continent. Okay, I'm gonna click on show me, and I want to choose pie graph, and I want to choose entire view, so we get a bigger view. So now we're doing it by continent. Well, you see who that is, probably us. Want to filter out any null values that we have, but we haven't got to that point yet. What are we missing? So let's do continent by color, which I think we have. We need to do total deaths. Let's put that in a label, which represents that, and then we need continent over in a label 2. So, come on. Ah, internet. Cancel. So now we have, I'm not sure what that one is. I bet there's something filtered in here. So let's go to the filter data real quick and see what's not showing up. All right, so null is in there for some reason. So that helped. And okay, so that's what we needed. So it provides a number of the different continents. Let's add a percentage to this. So if you go to analysis and it's percentage table, I think. All right. So now it breaks down this pie chart for us. It provides a percentage versus a numeric value. So just looking at it, and this is based off of total deaths. Looking at, surprisingly, Europe has, almost 3.5–4% more than North America, and then South America is kind of in the running. But looking at this, Africa has the lowest percentage of all areas. So this could be our. Oops. Let's go down here and say COVID-19 death toll. Sorry. You can make this all nice and pretty if you want to make it bold and different colors or whatever. Go for it. Oh, didn't really do it. Anyways, that's fine. Any questions at this point? All right. So now let's build another table. What can we provide a different set? So let's create a new sheet real quick and look at data that we have here. We could do total cases, total deaths, total vaccinations. Maybe we could tell that story. So let's do. Let's start off with our locations first. So let's definitely have continent. Definitely have location. Oops. Let's talk about maybe total cases, total deaths, maybe total vaccinations. Lots of numbers there. So we probably want to filter our null data. So I'm going to uncheck that. So now we have continent, location, we have total cases, total deaths, and total vaccinations. So now let's create a heat map. I think someone in this group had a heat map in their demonstration. Oh, is it going to not allow us? Oh, let's see why. So I want to select that. There's a reason it's preventing me that. 0 dimensions. Oh, because I have. That's weird. I have dimensions. Oh, let's see. One or more dimensions. All right, all right. Let's see if it lets me. If I put this up here. All right, so it doesn't have to start from scratch. That's all right. Let's. I'll play around with this a little bit. We'll get it. Hey, it's actually crazy. All right, so I'm starting from scratch. Bear with me. I'm seeing what I did wrong because for some reason we added that information there. I didn't like it. So let's do this. Go back to content. Content, and then we had location. Yep. And then we had new cases. Code cases. I want to do this first. Okay, I think I know what I did wrong. All right, so I had to select because we want to do text first. And so that's part of my problem. All right, so then we had total cases, we had total deaths, and we had total vaccinations. All right, still it didn't do what I wanted, but that's fine. Wonder why it's not letting me click on. Huh. What did I do wrong? Oh, you know what? I think I have to do. Oh, you know what? I think it's a separate. That's why. Okay, I know what. I think. I think it's separate. That's why. Let me try something here real quick. I'll mess it up again. So if I do total rows or total cases, total deaths, and total vaccinations, I do continent. Huh, it's so weird. It will not allow me to select that for some reason. That's the weirdest thing. Oh, all right, well, I don't need it. I'll play with it later. All right, so we probably just want to get rid of location and just keep it down to continent. Let's remove that data. Here. No out. All right, so this is more of a text-based environment, a text-based report, so you can look at it from this view. Probably want to, let's see here. Doesn't look pretty. But anyways, we have our different regions, continents, total cases, total deaths, total vaccinations. So this is more or less our text report. I'll say status metrics. Let's see what else do we have left here. All right, so we have 4 things at least. So we represent, our active cases. We're representing people vaccinated in North and South America. We're talking about our death toll, and we're talking about our status metrics, which is just a statistic one here. So the next thing is obviously the dashboard with everyone here. Not that one. Okay. We want to click a dashboard. All right, click a dashboard this time. And then what we could do is, as most of you already did, you could modify this around any way you want to. So maybe we want to I'll drag this over here, total lists. Maybe I have people vaccinated. Maybe I have my death toll over here. And then below that, somewhere over here, I have my metrics. Actually, there, I like that. Nice to have it at the bottom.
Yeah, when I was dragging them over, I was having trouble like formatting it. I don't know if there's a good way to do it because I was getting pretty frustrated. I have the sheets built, but once you go to the dashboard, it's like,
yeah, that I agree with that. There's not an easy way of doing the dashboard. It's very, not very, but it's limited on what it could do. Like it'd be nice if you could kind of fix these out exactly the way you want. Like, so I totally agree. It has its limitations and it's awful. That's the bad part of it. Like you can't make this any larger to really provide a good report, I think. Everybody wants these nice charts, but there's no real way of editing it out, for sure.
you export these charts to like PowerPoint or something.
Yeah, you could do PowerPoint, which is most parts is usually what we do at work. Is we export this out and then provide it in some type of report.
Yeah.
It's once again another reason everyone does everything out to export out somewhere else. I didn't talk about another thing. I just thought about something here. Yeah, I'm trying to remember if there was a way to make this, but it doesn't. I remember it has limitations on the dashboard itself, which is, for some reason, I thought there was another way of making it bigger, but I guess I was wrong. It's not gonna matter. All right, so this, as most of you've already did, you did some type of dashboard. So the limitations is is what it is. You can't make it exactly how you want it to be, but that's why it's called a dashboard. The other thing is the story. If you click on over here where it says new story, you could do a couple things within the story. You could drag your dashboard there, but the problem with the dashboard is, what are you getting out of the value? If you drag it here, you have all your information here, which is fine, but maybe you want to tell a specific story. You don't want to include that information. That would probably be not a good one. So let me delete that. Story again. So maybe I want to do this. I want to grab my COVID-19 information here. Maybe I want to talk about the United States. I could click on this and put, like, say, a caption here and say, what's his story talking about? It's active cases in the US. And then what I could do is, all I'm going to do is when I do my presentation, I'm going to focus on that area. And then maybe I create a blank sheet here, and then I go into another story. So the next thing is, I know that I'm going to talk about people vaccinated. So I could come back over to my story and I could pull people vaccinated over here and then do a focus point. So this is right here, people in North America that are vaccinated. So I could come up here and say vaccination rate US. Yep. And then maybe I have another blank sheet and I want to talk about the death toll. So I'll come over here and do the death toll. And then I could say worldwide death rate. Something like that. So now, like, if I go to do present mode, and I want to do my story, I can start here and click on this and say, hey, here's the active cases in the United States. You can see here, based off the United States, we're at 79 million. So we're way over we have a higher risk of cases in North America versus South America. And maybe you have another report that would talk about the other countries. But in this case right here, based off the data I collected now, I could talk about the vaccination rate. I could say, in the US, there's more people getting vaccinated versus these other areas that consist of Argentina. And then I could come back over here and talk about, based off the worldwide death, you can see that the numbers, the amount of people passed is higher in Europe versus South America, North America, etc. So the idea of the user story is to be able to take a caption of, it's probably better to take bits, like, how like you take all your little pieces and you put them into the dashboard, create a dashboard, and that's nice to see. But if you're doing a presentation, you want to do some type of storytelling, you could make this nice and fancy, and you could grab all your different metrics and throw it in here and put it up here where it just basically filters. Oops, it's just filtering. I think I deleted it. No, I didn't. It just filters your selections of what you want to talk about. So that way, if you look at the dashboard and you're like, there's a lot of stuff here, and you see the dashboard, but some of the information's hidden because I can't get all of the data, at least here you can provide maybe a better percentage, a better amount of it. Any questions on that? So you probably want to give the story as well. So I could say, 19 study, you maybe even give my dashboard a name. Another thing that you can do is, I don't know if this is working, but if you have a Tableau account, which we do, you could sign in. I think it's Tableau Online. It's been a while since I did this. But what I'm ultimately doing is, if you can sign into Tableau, what you could do is you could publish your reports out to Tableau. Now you watch, I'll forget my username and password. But if it ever comes up here, what will happen is I'll sign in, and then I could take this report and publish it, and you'll be able to actually see this story out online. Then you'll have a URL, and then you could like copy and paste that URL. So if you're doing your presentation and you want to use this over PowerPoint, you could just go to the URL that's designated to you, which I'm never going to get to because it's like this. Let's see if I can find. For some reason it is. Let me see if I can get online here, because I know that I have a report out here somewhere, I'm pretty sure. Oh, here it is. Log into Tableau Online. All right, well, of course it doesn't. I don't know. I have to play around with that. But anyways, nonetheless, I wanted to show you something cool that I'm not gonna be able to show you. But yeah, so normally you would be able to, once you sign into Tableau, you could export it, publish it out to Tableau's website. Same thing that you could do within Power BI as well. It's just a way to push it to the web and use that as your reference. Any questions on what I walked through? I know that everyone's going to have a better story. I'm going to stop this recording right now.